So June was the shortest month we spent in London because on the 9th we had to go home. And the fact that it was the shortest month doesn't really mean that this month lacked events. So we started the month by visiting the London Emirates airline, and I've never travelled by cable car before. It turned out that they were not scary at all, and rather incredibly interesting and fascinating. And it's always so refreshing to look at the city from the height. Well, for me at least. So we got lucky and got a car for ourselves, so there was no one to disturb us, and we didn't disturb anyone either, so it was a win-win situation, so to say. And all the people in the passing cars were waving at us, and it was so cool. So in June, we also travelled by train for the first time, not in our lives, of course, but in England. So we decided to go to Brighton because we were told that one can eat the best fish and chips there, so we decided why not. And we bought tickets to go from the Victoria station. So it was an interesting experience for me. So especially because the weather sucked. It was rainy and it was chilly, and we didn't really have any time to reschedule it, so we had to go this day. And then, just like out of nowhere, all the trains going to Brighton and from Brighton got cancelled. Just as we were looking at the screen, waiting for the train's arrival. Can you even imagine how freaked out we were? I mean, there were a lot of people on the station, many of them destined to Brighton as well, and for some strange reason, no one knew what to do next. Luckily, we stumbled across the staff members who did actually know what we needed to do, and we couldn't get on a train that was supposed to go straight to Brighton, but we still could do it while changing trains. Especially because we were so sure that we would have to cancel the trip and wouldn't ever get our money back, we were so relieved everything turned out this way. I know how that happened, maybe because it was my mom and I, we kind of prefer different kinds of holidays to those where you just lie on the beach, maybe something else. Anyway, Brighton was the first time I saw the sea live, and I was so excited. Even though the weather was so cold and we had to wear like 100 layers of clothes, it was still so worth it. And the fish and chips were indeed great, especially with the sea view. Of course, the sea wasn't the only thing that actually impressed me in Brighton. It was the architecture, the atmosphere, everything was just wonderful. In June, we also managed to get hold of tickets to the famous Globe Theatre. We saw The Merry Wives of Windsor and it was so great. And I'm not talking about atmosphere, not only about it, but the actors as well, the play itself, everything was just wonderful. And needless to say, I was excited to be there as a Doctor Who fan. I remember this episode with the witches in the Globe. I even rewatched the episode once I got back to my dorm. One thing you need to know about me is the fact that I used to be an anime fan when I was a kid. It doesn't mean I don't like anime now, no. I still love it, I just don't watch it as often as I used to. Anyway, when I found out that the British Museum was hosting an exhibition devoted to manga, I was so thrilled. At first, I didn't really intend to go because the tickets weren't that cheap, and then I was like, what the hell? This culture meant so much to the little me. It still inspires me, so why the hell should I miss an opportunity like that? And oh my god, it was worth every penny. The atmosphere there, the amount of information presented, all these drawings, even the map, say what symbol meant what. Of course, there were mentions of the mangas I read as a child, which made me even more excited. I've spent about 4 hours going through the exhibition, exploring its every corner, and it turned out to be so full of fascinating things. What also happened in June was something I didn't really expect to happen. I mean, it was something everyone was joking about, but I didn't really believe it. I saw the Queen. It turned out to be her birthday in June, and everyone was allowed to go to the St. James Park and watch the special parade. You know, in my country, people tend to stand in line a few hours before the show itself. Like if something starts at, say, 10 a.m, people will be queuing from 7 a.m. trying to get the place. So for some reason, I was expecting the same thing in England, and imagine my surprise when I got there like 20 minutes before the beginning and managed to get a place in the second row. Mind, it wasn't the most comfortable place in the universe because there were a lot of people, but still, it was worth it. Before I headed back home, I saw the Queen. From that moment on, whenever someone jokes about, well, you know, have you seen the Queen while you were in the UK? I can proudly say yes, I have. So overall, this is it for my diaries. It took me more than I expected to edit them, but it was so precious to do that. This semester was the best in my life, and I can't wait to get back to London, and well, I'll see you all soon.
I'm making this the last time I break down, holding on to my breath, no sound.